Hey everybody, it's Mackenzie from Tuckaway Pines. Today I came home from work and I found Cory in the garage, and today he has been replacing the brakes on our new pickup truck. Um, and he told me to bring up the camera because he wanted to show you guys kind of a little tutorial on what he's doing. So if any garage monkeys are out there, this one's for you. But in all seriousness, though, I think that's a really great idea. It's kind of, I know it's not like our typical homestead-ish kind of content, but this is very important because we try to be as handy and, well-rounded with the skills and the traits that we possibly can, and we're still learning. We're still trying to gather more skills and talents and whatnot. But Cory is very mechanically inclined, and we're very lucky that he is, because he is able to do a lot of the maintenance on our vehicles, which does keep a lot of the costs down. That labor out there, that's expensive. It's just really good to be able to rely on that. And I'm trying to learn about the vehicles too. I try to help him out when I can. But yeah, and also, like, if something were to happen, if we're driving out on the road or traveling, what have you, and something were to go, 9 times out of 10, probably 9.5 times out of 10, he kind of diagnoses it. He knows what to do, and usually is able to kind of fix it to get us back to where we need to be to, get her handled. So yeah, anyway, this is just kind of like a little tutorial. I'm replacing the brakes on our Ford Ranger, and kind of a lesson on maybe start learning some new skills. You never know when they'll come in handy, and that way you don't have to rely on anybody else if you don't have to, especially when you have to pay for it. We like to save money and try to be as frugal as possible, but why pay someone to do something when you can do it yourself? You know what I mean? So that's kind of my motto. So I'll take you guys into the garage, and Cory will kind of show you what's what.
Hey, it's Cory. I'm working on my 1994 Ford Ranger 2.3 liter two-wheel drive. I'm doing front pads, rotors, and calipers today. I have one side already completed over there, but I'm going to be doing the driver's side today. And it's the same exact thing for the passenger side, just obviously it's the other side. So thanks for watching. So the tools that I have found to do this job the easiest is a 19 millimeter socket for taking the lug nuts off, a hammer, a flathead screwdriver, pretty long, another flathead screwdriver, smaller, kind of short, pliers, 29 millimeter for the hub bearing, and it's smaller, but this is what I have to work with, and it works. Some cotter pins, a 3/8 ratchet with a 14 millimeter on there to be able to get the brake line free off of the caliper when you get there. Also, can't forget the 1/2-inch impact. Definitely makes my life easier when it's needed. A grease gun, Rusty's penetrant oil, really top line stuff. I like Eric oil, but Rusty's is right up there. So some brake cleaner and some brake fluid, and then I also have the parts needed. So I'm going to start here. I already have the wheel off. I'm going to start with taking the hubcap off. I have the smaller screwdriver and a hammer for this. And I just get it started with that, and then I use the bigger one. That way I'm not bending my screwdrivers all up. And once you get that in there, then you can kind of just use a screwdriver. You really don't need the hammer anymore. And turn it. Get that cap off. That's where the rags come in handy. Try to just get as much of the grease out of there as I can. And I'll just keep reusing that. This is where the pliers comes in handy. Under in there, and just trying to crunch it and get it as close as to new as possible so I can get it out with ease. So spend a little bit of time on it and it should come out pretty good for you. Sometimes they could give you a hard time. That's why I like to put the new ones in. Just kind of bend it with the screwdriver. Get through. Get it to a hard spot like on the rotor hub there. You're able to pry it right out. I feel this is one of the more important parts when I'm taking off the pieces for the bearings, the hub bearings there. Just like to put them on a clean rag in the order I take it off, so there's no confusion, which really there shouldn't be, but just so you know what you have. And I mean, you could see that I just loosened that with my fingers. The socket that I have really isn't even needed. And that's how you want it to be. You don't want it over tight, otherwise you're going to fry out your bearings right away and just going to put more stress on everything than needed. So I'm going to continue taking this off, and going to have a lot of grease, so that's why I kept this same greasy rag. Little as possible. I'm going to take my small screwdriver and get this washer that holds the bearing in there to come free. And now in this case, normally I don't reuse things. I like to put new everything in when I'm doing it, but I'm reusing the bearings and the seal. And I'm going to show you how to get the seal out without damaging it. So also repack the bearings. I mean, the bearings are good. They're not seized. It's just they weren't in stock here at the store, and I need to get this done for work, so get the bearings out. Like I said, they're in really good condition. I mean, somebody must have been in here recently and did them. Just wipe them down, and then we'll repack them, put them in on the new ones. And the sizes are different, so you don't have to worry about any confusion with the bearings. The front one is smaller and the back one's bigger, and it only works one way. So what I like to do first is I like to crack this bolt free on the back of the caliper. It's for the brake line. It's just easier to crack it free and then you tighten it up while it's in place rather than when it's loose. So do that here. And then just tighten it back up. Don't need to go crazy, just snug. And then you can start removing the caliper. Okay, so I'm going to continue taking the caliper off. You got the caliper pins up here that hold it in place. This is where your bigger screwdriver comes in handy, and you just smack that and it just comes right through pretty simply. I was kind of surprised. It's my first time doing this style. Same on the bottom here. And those come out. You get new ones with the caliper, so you can toss those out. Then to get the caliper off, gotta be aggressive with it and shake it off. Sometimes you need to take a hammer to it and screwdriver. And now my rotor comes off. Now you could get a better look at everything. I got my rotor off here. I still have to get my bearing out. It's got the seal on the back here, and I got to try to take that off without damaging it. So I'm going to see how that goes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like I said, I didn't get new ones, so in my case I need it to work. So now I'm going to take the longer screwdriver and the hammer, and I can see inside there the bearing, and I want to make sure that I have the flat side of the screwdriver on a good chunk of the bearing so I'm not damaging anything. And I go to one side, I give it a couple pounds, I come back, I go to the complete opposite side, hit it a couple more times, I go back to my side that I started the first time, give it a couple more taps, go back on the other side, give it a couple taps.
Okay.
So I'm sure some of you guys saw I ripped the boot, and not going to be able to save the backing here, and sometimes that happens. So now I just need to work on getting it out, and this is not a fun part. So now, honestly, in this case, you might be better off just going and getting a new bearing and a new back piece, especially having the new rotor and everything. I mean, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit here and beat this up all day. And, by the time I'm done, I'm going to have a bad bearing. So let's save me the time. Let's save you the time. And I'm going to go get another one, and I'll be back, and we'll start there. Okay, so I just got back from the auto parts store. I got a bearing and a seal inner. So gonna start back here by cleaning the shaft, get all the old grease off there. Okay, now I'm gonna go back over here to the caliper. And this is why I left it loose, that way I could do it myself when it counts. And it's a quick process. You want to try to have everything ready to go. You want to have the caliper out. You want to take the bolt for the brake line out. It comes with the 2 copper crush washers. You want one on each side. You want to make sure you take one off. This is very important. If you don't have these both on there, it will leak, so make sure this is on. So, and another reason why I said the brake fluid, obviously, anytime you're working with the brakes, fluid's coming out. You top it off before you do this, that way you don't get as much air in the line, and it's easier to bleed when you're done. So the race is on to get the bolt out. It's going to start leaking. And those copper washers will want to be stuck on there, so one of the screwdrivers that we were using before we'll use to get that off. This bolt's giving me a hard time. I'm getting it. It's just turn by turn. It's fighting me. Okay. So I got the bolt off. Got the brake line off. And I don't know if you can see on there or not, but the crush washer is stuck on there. So I just take the screwdriver, pop that off. Come back. New one on. Make sure you put the other one on. Grab the caliper. And tighten it up. Okay. I mean, you're only going to be able to get this so tight with the socket, just tight enough to get it to stop leaking fluid. And then once you have it on, you can tighten it up from there and get it really snug. But where the brake cleaner will come in handy, and spray that down real good. Make sure you don't have any leaks. Let's clean it up. While everything's off, I like to clean out the grooves where these holders go, caliper pin holders. Fills up with gunk. It just, I don't know, makes it easier when you're putting it together, when you take a little bit of time to clean it out.
Okay.
So I ran out of can of brake cleaner and needed to grab some more out of the stash. So just clean that up, get all the fluid off, get it off all the other stuff that's on fluid. Okay. Now that we got brake fluid all over the spindle, we'll want to wipe that back off. So we're going to be putting grease on there. Okay. So this is the fun, messy part. The grease gun will come in handy. Got a little bit of rub back there from the brake shield. Just take a screwdriver if this happens, and wherever it seems to be rubbing, just try to pry it out. Kind of hard to show what to do, but I'm sure you get the idea if it is happening. Okay, so now you can, I don't know if you can hear the difference on the video, but I can hear a big difference. It's has no sound, and that's how it should sound. It should just be really nice and smooth when you turn it. There's no bind, it's not binding up on anything. And I just have this nut now hand tight, and it feels really good. So you go hand tight, just back it off just a hair. You want it to feel tight but spin. So now that that's on there, take the piece that'll lock that nut in with the cotter pin. And I threw out the other one, remember? So, I mean, if you have to use the one that you got, that works too. Just easier for me to use a new one, and next time it's easy to come apart. So you just bend the cotter pin so that you can get the cap back on. And like I said, I mean, you don't gotta take the time to clean everything out. I do. I don't know. Like to just keep it clean. It's maintaining. It will get greasy again, but toss that in there. Cap can go on. Put that on afterwards. So this is a little cool trick too. I double glove that way. When I'm done with the grease, I got my new pair of gloves on, and I don't have to keep worrying about switching. It's a little home hack here. I'm throwing my pads on, and for the back side here, the back side just slides in and it'll hold itself in. It's got a spot. There's grooves, and just push it tight up onto the rotor. It holds itself, and front one clips in, and that also has spots and tabs that it holds into nice. Come down, bring the caliper. Get that in place. These are the new lock pins that it comes with here. I'm sure there's another way to do this, but I get it started here. I just take my hammer, get it started. I don't pound it in all the way. That way it's a little bit easier when you go to put the top one in. When you put the top one in, if you put it on an angle, it kind of helps get it to go rather than just trying to pound it in straight. So you get it started. Now they're both almost all the way in. This is when you take your screwdriver, or, you know, honestly what would work better would probably be a 3/8 extension. That would work better when you're pounding the hubs out too. That's what I should have switched the screwdriver to, but this is what I have handy. And pound this pin in until it's level on both sides. That's level right there. I mean, I go a touch more, do the same on the bottom. And I don't mean flush with the caliper, I mean just even metal on that clip on both sides. Okay, now that that's locked in place, everything's spinning real nice. You can hear a little bit of drag on there, and that's normal. Now I just have to go around and I have to bleed my bleeders out. So that's the next step. And like I said, once I get this on there, now I go on the back of the brake line with that bolt back there and I snug it up better than I was able to before. And you can see there's definitely some more tightening. You don't want to over tighten that. You want it tight, but you don't want to over tighten it. Give it one more spray down back there around everything. That way, you make sure it's not leaking. Spray down your rotors. Get that film off from the store. So I'm just wrapping up here, everyone, with the 1994 Ford Ranger 2-wheel drive. I got the brakes, rotors, calipers, everything's all done. The only thing I need to do is bleed the brakes. So I hope everybody liked it. Please subscribe and, keep watching the videos. Thank you.